It's 4 PM Central European Time on a Sunday, which means time for the Thyworm Weekly Roundup with my curated news and personal gaming endeavors. Are you enjoying these? Consider subscribing. It's the 20th Weekly Roundup. We reached 3,000 subscribers this morning. I want to thank all of you for the support, comments and contributions. I really appreciate it a lot. Remember last week where I said GGG ensured us the completely overpowered build with Herald and Aura Stacking wouldn't be nerfed because so many people played it? Well, they nerfed it. I guess it was just too unethical. That little nerf did basically cost me 20 exalts, so I'm not too happy with this as my build is now falling off quite hard, but yeah, that is the risk of being a meta slave, I suppose. Patch 3.10.1c, the patch in question, changed a few other things too. Delirium Mist now actually passes correctly in all instances of Legion encounters and Blight encounters. Cirrus will only use his Meteor and Corridor skills whenever his apparition, that ghost around him, doesn't do anything. Especially at phase 1 of the fight, you'd sometimes get hit by multiple abilities which were hard to see and hard to dodge and you would instantly die. That is better now. They improved various Conqueror spawn rules, making it easier to complete your Watchstones because Conquerors don't spawn anymore in regions where you already have their Watchstone. The Atlas is updated to reflect these changes as well, and those are the highlights, or at least my highlights, of this patch. Last Epoch initiated a small community event, letting us pick a skill that will be replaced by a community-inspired skill tree. The specialization tree in Last Epoch is one of its unique features, which offers a ton of versatility in terms of builds. Playing around with the skill system is amazing, and this would be the 4th time that Last Epoch initiates a community-based skill tree. Previously, Aura of Decay, Shatter Strike and Summon Scorpion have been subjected to the creativity of the community, and now the developers at 11th Hour Games opened up a poll for us to vote on which skill should get the next overhaul. You have a choice between Lunge, Rebuke, Summon Bear, Summon Storm Totem and Tornado. I'd like to see Rebuke done because I find the skill rather boring. Community, however, seems to want Tornado to get an overhaul. You can still vote for a while, so go do that if you want to be part of this social experiment and influence the game. Wolcen released patch 1.0.11.0. A lot of bug fixes there, as you might expect, but also a few notable changes. For example, they put a max cap to damage bonus provided by ailment stacks. In this game in particular, ailments were extremely strong, and one of the reasons is that there wasn't any cap for ailment damage. You could stack ailments indefinitely, which normally isn't an issue, but in Wolcen it was way too easy to start stacking ailments. The burn ailment got nerfed a little in particular. It used to damage all surrounding enemies around the main target, and this is now capped at 5 targets around the main target. They added a new unique tier for weapons and shields, which can drop in level 65 zones and higher. And those are pretty much the highlights of the patch. Gamedec, a narrative-driven RPG I reported on last week, is still in their Kickstarter campaign, and these guys are just hitting it out of the park. The initial goal was $50,000, that was last week, and by now the indie studio has collected more than $100,000. It's great to see a very ambitious game do this well. It also increases the pressure on this small studio to deliver something really good in Q4 this year when Gamedec has its release date. But everything in the trailer looks good and it seems the game is quite polished already. The Kickstarter has a few more weeks to go, so if you're interested in the game you can still back it. I'll leave a link in the description down below. Encased, the sci-fi post-apocalyptic turn-based RPG, announced their second content patch. This game is still in early access, content is still coming, but it is already a really good game. Not sure if I would recommend diving into a story-driven game like this one in early access, because at least for me it is a game I'm likely to play once and then never again, so then playing bits and pieces like I've done up to this point isn't ideal. But hey, to each his own. No matter your preferences, more content drops the first half of April. It features new enemies, quests, items, upgrades, and that's all they will say about it for now. More details coming soon. There are a few new games that crossed my radar thanks to various subscribers, Twitter or random Steam news. Vagrus, the Riven Realms, is a post-apocalyptic turn-based fantasy RPG whose developers have been playing their own invention in a pen and paper D&D-like style for 20 years apparently. They realized at some point maybe after 15 years, that a larger audience might be interested in their adventures as well, and Vagrus, the Riven realms, was born, at least conceptually. The game revolves around caravans in this sandbox world, and you need to travel from A to B, together with your band of hardy warriors, fending off bandits and monsters and making a name for yourself in the world. From what we are shown, it is a very deep game with lots of reading, tactical combat, tactical everything probably, and if you enjoy these sorts of vast immersive worlds, this might be the game for you. Something completely different emerged from the shadows as well, a game called Mortal Shell. It is described as a ruthless and deep action RPG that tests your sanity and resilience in a shattered world. That's how Dark Souls made me feel, and the similarities aren't that hard to find. This game is a twist, however, the shells, which you seem to rip out of your conquered enemies, and they allow you to possess new powers. You can take over dead bodies, inherit their skills and abilities, and use those to progress further into the game. Very interesting concept. The combat itself reminds me of Dark Souls and more recently Sekiro, with the red dots that indicate when you can parry and strike. I haven't really played Sekiro, I'm honestly not sure I'll ever will, because this is the kind of game that feels like torture to me, but some people enjoy this a lot, and for those of you who do, at least you know Mortal Shell is on the horizon. No release date yet, but I'll keep you posted. Some personal gaming updates. I've been primarily playing Last Epoch. There's tons of videos coming out. I've been very inspired with some builds. I've started to keep track of my various character and their gear, so I can hopefully use them in the future again to try a different archetype. I'm setting up this whole thing to get more efficient at creating videos. On the other hand, I started a stream yesterday with a completely blank paladin character, without really having much of an idea on what to spec into, and that was very valuable and fun. I treated it as a solo self-found project, which made it more challenging. Not only that, however, by doing the campaign I learned a lot more about the character and the different skills, and it helped me make better decisions. We've reached endgame now, around level 50, and the character is shaping up to be a very fun guy to play. Expect more Last Epoch content soon. And that's all I have for you this week. Follow me on Twitter. Thanks so much for watching and supporting the channel, guys. Once again, I appreciate it really a lot. I'll see you all next week. Love you all. Bye bye.